start the Airdrie Community Board. As you can see, there's a message on the web on the community board page, just reminding us about the live streaming. Can also just point out and remind people, if you don't mind, if you could put yourself on mute if you're not speaking. It just helps prevent any background noise. Thank you very much for that.
Michael,
so, well,
can I speak in it? Michael, it's Michael Coyle here.
Yep.
Could you possibly get someone to send the Reverend Kate Gilchrist the link? Because she's been contacting me and says she's not received the link yet.
Ross, can anyone do that just now, or is that too late?
You give me 1 second, Chair. I'll just check if I've got the contact details.
Okay.
Right, if you send it to me, that I can pass it on to her, Ross.
I think you can actually share your own link that you've got that would have came through from either the email. So I can certainly send that on to someone. Sorry, who said send it on to me?
Aye, if you can send it on to me, that I'll send it on to Kay.
No problem, Councillor Coyle. Give me 1 second.
Okay, folks, we'll just wait a few minutes till that email sent to.
Sorry about that, Michael.
That's okay, Michael.
Okay, Councillor Coyle, that's the email with the meeting link contained in it forwarded on, and you can just forward that directly to someone and it'll give them the link to this meeting.
Okay, thanks, Ross. Thanks, Michael.
Okay, thanks, Michael. Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Airdrie Community Board, 7th of December. Just as a brief introduction, I'll be chairing tonight, and I'm Councillor Michael McBride from Airdrie South. And I've got various participants tonight as per the agenda. If I move on to Ross and ask if there's any specific apologies, Ross?
Yes, Chair, I've got a few apologies to note for tonight. We've got one from Councillor Chris Costello, one from our Community Coordinator Brian Lafferty. Got apologies from Margaret McGreevy at NHS Lanarkshire. Apologies from Dr Anne Glenn, from Sharon Craig. Apologies from Judith Brennan at Van Hill, but we have Douglas Milne, a colleague here, covering tonight. And that's all the apologies I've got noted. If there's any additional ones, people can put them in the chat bar and I'll make sure they're recorded.
Okay, thank you, Ross, for that. If we move on to agenda point 3, minutes of the previous meeting and matters arising, does anyone have any specific points or matters arising? No. There's just one point here, which is for myself. On the previous minutes, you may have noticed there was an inquiry from a local resident regarding local people queuing in some pharmacies around Airdrie to get in, and the concern was mostly to do with the winter coming up and how it's cold and maybe raining and windy, etc., etc. I took that point up, and I sent a letter to the Cabinet Secretary for Health and Social Care, Humza Yousaf. I sent that on the 19th of October. I had a reply back on the 17th of November, and if you don't mind, I want to read it out. After that, I will also post it to and send it to Community Matters and Ross, who will add it to the minutes of this meeting for everyone to see at the next community board. So if you just bear with me, and I'll just read as the verbatim says on the letter. So the letter is from Humza Yousaf, Cabinet Secretary for Health and Social Care, 17th of November 2022. Dear Councillor McBride, thank you for your letter of the October 19th regarding pharmacies in your council area limiting the number of patients in their premises. I fully sympathise with everyone who has experienced long queues and waited outdoors to access essential NHS pharmaceutical care. I do understand the frustration and the inconvenience this may have caused. There are over 1,250 community pharmacies across our network, and they remain a key point of access to NHS healthcare, and the network provides direct access to a highly skilled team of healthcare professionals and support staff. It is important that these services are accessible in order to continue to relieve pressures in other parts of the system, including GP practices, out of hours services, and emergency departments. It is worth highlighting that whilst physical distancing is no longer legally required, it is for each community pharmacy contractor to decide whether to continue following physical distancing rules. Overcrowding in any area of the healthcare facility, including communal, waiting and reception areas, increases the transmission risk of respiratory viruses, including COVID-19, and it is important to remain mindful of the volume of people in a space at any one time, taking account of staff and patients. This is also reinforced in the latest Community Infection Prevention Control COVID-19 pandemic guidance issued by Public Health Scotland, which details COVID-19 pandemic measures still in place and suggested actions in community health and care settings. Lastly, a couple of paragraphs. Community pharmacies, like GP practices, are independent contractors providing services on behalf of NHS Scotland. As such, it is for each contractor to ensure they have place in appropriate processes which allows patients equitable access to NHS services. Each community pharmacy is responsible for its own day-to-day operational processes, and we would expect pharmacies to always be clear with patients about when medicines can be reasonably be expected to be available, and to clearly signpost and physical distancing rules are in place and safety in their patients. Scottish Government officials are also working closely with NHS Board Directors of Pharmacy and Community Pharmacy Scotland, the representative body of community pharmacy contractors in Scotland, to consider what can be done to improve the current situation and to ensure uninterrupted access to community pharmacy service as we enter the winter period. And lastly, I would suggest that in the first instance, anyone experiencing long queues at their local pharmacy to discuss their concerns with the manager of the community pharmacy. Every community pharmacy should have a formal complaint process in place. In the event of unsatisfactory response, the issues can be also raised directly with NHS Lanarkshire Patients Affairs Team Primary Care on the following phone number: 01698 752 800 and press option 2. And you can also email patientafairs.primarycare@lanarkshire.scot.nhs.uk. I hope this is really helpful. Yours sincerely, Humza Yousaf. So that's just an update and reply from the letter. As I said previously, I will pass this on to Ross and the community teams, who will add it to the next minutes for everyone to read. And if anyone's want to ask any questions on it, feel free, and I will try and answer them, and then we can move on to the next agenda. Thank you very much. Have I missed anyone, Ross, online who wants to ask a question? No?
No, sorry, Chair. I was just checking. I think we're ready to move on to the presentation.
Okay.
However, Lindsay's colleague's been having a few problems getting online, so I've just been resending the meeting links to people to hopefully join. I was just checking. I can't see them showing up on screen yet.
Okay.
What I'll do, maybe, if it's okay with you, Lindsay, I'll just get the presentation up and ready, and
Yep.
I'll see if I can get David online.
Absolutely. I'm just wondering, we could even flip the presentation if David's taking a bit of time, so I could cover the East Airdrie Link Road consultation bit first, and then he could follow, even if you want, if that suits Chair.
Yeah, that's fine with me if you're happy with that, Ross, and we can maybe mix it about until somebody arrives.
That's fine, and I think we'll probably just say in advance we can cover Lindsay's part of the presentation. If for any reason we can't get David online, we'll maybe just carry that over to the next meeting, even if it requires having a special session just to do the presentation.
Yep. Is that okay, Lindsay? You happy with that?
No, that's fine. Ross, could you share the? That's good. Thank you.
Let me just get on to full screen. And if you can just let me know when you want me to move on, Lindsay, or what slide I should start at.
So David was going to cover the first part of the presentation, which primarily focused on the kind of the work programme that's planned for Airdrie Town Centre, and that was going to be the bulk of the presentation. Really, my kind of role tonight was just to sort of notify the community board of a consultation exercise that was taking place for the East Airdrie Link Road. I should have probably known what number the slides are, but if you could possibly flick through the slides to come on to the East Airdrie Link Road consultation page, and then hopefully David can come in. I'm slightly reluctant to cover that. I don't know enough about that kind of key work piece really, and I think it's critical that the board hears that from David in terms of the kind of complexities and all the sort of multifaceted projects that comprise that the town centre action plan and the sort of timescales. So hopefully David will be able to kind of pick that up when he joins. So really my kind of attendance this evening was around the East Airdrie Link Road and the kind of consultation that's been launched. And it was really, first of all, just to say thank you to the community board for allowing me to come this evening and kind of alert you to this consultation. So if we can maybe just see the next slide, Ross, if you don't mind. So I'm sure that the board's very aware of the East Airdrie Link Road and the kind of project development work that's been carried out to date. We've carried out a number of phases and a number of stages in the development of the proposal to date. So we've had stage one, which tested and sort of confirmed whether a link road east of Airdrie was still a suitable solution to deal with some of the traffic issues along that corridor, and that originated from a strategic transport appraisal guidance exercise in 2009. So it's been in the pipeline for quite some time to look at addressing transportation, local road network issues, pollution, particularly in Chapel Hall, and creating that strategic north-south link. So stage one of the East Airdrie Link Road development looked at retesting whether that was still the correct approach, and there was an element of consultation around that. Stage two took that further and looked at a series of 8 options from a long list of options and narrowed that down through a kind of quite complex appraisal process to a number of options that we took forward into a short list. And then we did a consultation around that. Unfortunately, that's what kicked off in March 2020. So we obviously had the pandemic that kicked in, and that went online. We did get a good number of comments and a good number of concerns raised at that point. So we took that back on, into the development phases and looked at, a number of other options, particularly at the north end of Rig End, and I'll come on to that. So in terms of this consultation, it's very much confirming what the preferred option is and also looking at an environmental report that was prepared as part of the development of the link road. And it's still at an early stage. We're still very much looking at the preferred option and an alignment, not a detailed alignment. So there is a lot of detail still to be developed as we move through the development phases. So the consultation, which kicked off on Monday, the 28th of November, it's going to run for 8 weeks. For the environmental report, there's a sort of timescale that we have to adhere to. That's a 6-week process, but we're very aware that obviously the festive period kicks in, so we've extended that by 8 weeks. The consultation is primarily online because of the amount of information that we're trying to be able to communicate to stakeholders and communities and interested parties. So there are a number of videos that kind of go through the appraisal process, that look at the sort of additional options that we assess, that also provide a flyover of the preferred route, which really lets you sort of see the preferred route and how it relates to its the locations and its surroundings. And there's a sort of interactive map on the options that you can drill down in, and you can see how that's going to land at a more local level. So just looking at the slide, stage 2 very much about route selection, and then once we've kind of confirmed that and we've received the kind of feedback from this consultation, we'll move into stage 3, which starts to look at the detailed design, starts to prepare the planning application and the kind of documents that support the planning application, and then looking at the business case to secure the funding. So we have got a funding allocation for the East Airdrie Link Road, but we haven't secured the actual budget yet. That needs to be done in terms of justifying value for money and what benefits the link road will generate. So the comments from this consultation will very much inform that next stage. Will be very much fed into the detailed design and looking at the detail alignment and any mitigation that's required as part of that. Ross, if you can have the next slide, please. So really just by way of context, and I know people will be familiar with the East Airdrie Link Road, but just it's part of the North Lanarkshire City Deal programme. The overall programme for North Lanarkshire is 240 million, so it's a huge investment programme in infrastructure for North Lanarkshire. It comprises 6 sub-projects, and 3 of those projects are comprised of the Pan Lanarkshire corridor. And the reason why I put this map on the slide is it really lets you see the sort of scale and the scope of that corridor. So the Pan Lanarkshire corridor links South Lanarkshire and the M74 up through Motherwell, through connecting into Ravenscraig and unlocking the development potential at Ravenscraig. There's a dualling of the existing A723 as part of the Pan Lanarkshire project, and then there's the new carriageway that links Lancaster Avenue at the M8 up to south of Cumbernauld and connects with the dual carriageway at that point. And the kind of investment around City Deals very much focus on connectivity, unlocking key development sites across that corridor. Part of the City Deal is kind of objectives is very much to look at public transport and enabling more efficient and more effective public transport across the region, and also supplementing that with active travel. And you'll see active travel featuring quite heavily in a number of our City Deal projects, and that's really to stimulate that modal shift. A key objective is supporting businesses and supporting communities and providing that access, particularly to employment areas, and looking at inclusive growth and how we generate community benefits flowing from the significant investment. Next slide, please, Ross. So the Pan Lanarkshire corridor, as I explained, it's going to link the M74 to Cumbernauld and up to the M80. But in terms of the East Airdrie Link Road, the deliverables very much are a 10-kilometre stretch of new single carriageway from Chapel Hall to Rigend, or north of Rigend. And also there'll be a separate north-south active travel route. Now the active travel route won't mirror the line of the East Airdrie Link Road. It will pick up where existing routes are, where there's a need for additional routes, and that will connect communities to key places along the route, but equally existing development opportunities and employment areas. So the purpose of the route is very much a north-south strategic link, focused on sort of reducing journey times, removing traffic congestion on the A73 and improving air quality. Because of the strategic nature of the route, there'll be only a few junctions at key points along the link road, and that keeps that the sort of strategic nature of the link road. And latterly, as we've kind of started the sort of development stage of the link road, the Monklands Replacement Hospital has come into being, and the link road now supports the hospital and indeed is the primary access into the Monklands Replacement Hospital at Western Moffat. So in terms of timeline, we're in stage 2 at the moment, and that the consultation for that will run for the 8-week period. We will then look to try and get into stage 3 and procure that over the back end of 22-23. And stage 3 comprises sort of specimen design, more detailed design, planning, and then the preparation of an outline business case. Next slide. So really that kind of covers off the kind of key elements that I want to mention today. But there are, as I say, there's quite a lot of videos, and there's a flyover on the website, and I've put the link in there. There is a shorter version of the presentation, which I'm conscious that your agenda is really full, and I know David's got quite a lot he wants to cover tonight, so I won't kind of go into that, but I would encourage people to engage with the consultation, provide comments. I know there'll be concerns along certain stretches of the route, so please do email us at that email address, or participate on the online survey that's online. And I think that's me. Chair, I don't know if you want to take questions now, or whether you want David to kind of present. I'm conscious of your agenda is quite large.
Yeah, thanks, Lindsay. No, I think we'll take maybe some quick questions on yours now. I'll leave David to continue with the town centre. Did the MD have any questions for Lindsay?
Can I come in, Chair?
Yeah, on you go, Alan. Yep.
Lindsay, as you know, I've been in communication with you in relation to this from one of the residents. Will you reply direct to anything that comes in then? Thanks.
Absolutely. So I've gone back to the resident, and I'm planning to meet with the resident to go through the concerns that have been raised, Councillor.
That's great. And first, and again, do you have any time scale for starting / cutting the ribbon? Because Douglas Ross would be a fantastic man to cut the ribbon for us.
There are dates as part of the consultation, and at the moment the plan is that we would it's a 2-year build programme, so we would like to open the road. I think it's late 2027. But one point I should have raised actually is this liaison with the Monklands Hospital. What we need to make sure that the programmes are aligned there, because not only does the link road provide the access into the hospital, there's actually physical overlaps with earthworks, and there's a physical interface with that with the hospital, so we need to align the programme to that. So we're still working on that, and that's something. So the programme is very much a live programme, and obviously if things change, we would keep both the board but also our local members up to speed with that. We have developed a project interface board with NHS Lanarkshire, which we actually met today to manage the programme, try and align the programmes better and manage the risks, but equally look at efficiencies and synergies and try and increase the community benefits that can flow from these significant public sector investments.
Can I one supplementary?
Thank you very much. Yeah, just briefly, Alan, if you don't mind. Thank you.
You said it would be the ribbon would be cut late 27. Do you have any, when you met with NHS Lanarkshire, did they give you any indication regarding the hospital ribbon cutting ceremony?
They didn't. They're going to produce a new programme, I think, and publish that. If I think that's either coming out this week or next week as a press release. So I would wait for that. But certainly, if I hear anything more kind of firm on that, I will come back to you, Councillor Beveridge.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Chair.
Okay. Thanks, Alan. Thanks, Lindsay. Any other questions for Lindsay? No. Can I just briefly jump in, Lindsay, and just make a couple of comments for the benefit of the community board? Obviously, the 2 libraries local to us in this area is Airdrie and Chapel Hall, with the consultations taking place, with the sort of the book being there and the maps that are available for people to look at. So thank you for that. The one in Chapel Hall, just very briefly, I was in Chapel Hall Library and spoke to a resident who lives up round the Rough Rig area, which is between Chapel Hall, Salisbury. And just very one quick point was that she was asking, was there any possibility to have an elevation view of the road around that area online? If it's there, I don't know, but is it something that could be done? Thank you.
Councillor McBride, it's probably a little bit early for presenting elevations at this point in time,
okay.
but certainly that would be our view once we moved into stage 3 and we started to produce those. And the difficulty I have at the moment is it's not a difficulty, but it's just the stage we're at. That it's still quite an early stage, and it's very much looking at the route of the road rather than the details that sits behind that. That's what that will take place in stage 3. But certainly when the detail starts to come through, we would share that with yourselves and community groups and the board. And thank you for picking up the point around the library. Certainly the details are in all 3 libraries, Cumbernauld, Chapel Hall and Airdrie, and the Civic Centre as well. So the environmental reports there's maps, and I've also added in a paper copy of the survey that's online, because I appreciate not everyone can fill things in online. The difficulty is that most of the materials to view around the alignment is actually, it's an online product, it's a video, but certainly at the libraries, I'm sure the librarians could support that and let people view them in the libraries, and then they can fill the forms in as hard copies, and we'll collect those from the libraries to ensure that they are part of the consultation.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Lindsay. So if we can move on, Ross, to David, and if you want to start sharing the screen for David's part, please. Thank you.
If you can just go right back to the start, Ross, on that. And again, apologies, I couldn't get on the computer, so I'm on my phone right now.
There we go, David. So you just let me know when you need to move. Can you see that okay through your phone?
Yeah, I can see that. That's fine. So if you can just go on to the next slide. Yeah. So again, our town centres, again, going back to 2019, it was kind of agreed by the council that we would put forward town visions for our all 8 town centres across North Lanarkshire. So this went online, and again, we were kind of hampered in the consultation in regards to COVID, and so we were restricted to doing this online. But we had a couple of hundred responses to town centre. So again, the town visions themselves are kind of high-level concept designs they're put in place to kind of give this kind of strategic direction where we should be going in regard to how we develop our town centres. Sorry, next slide. So there was kind of 3 key principles for Airdrie Town Centre. So it was about developing a new town hub, and again, that there was a separate consultation that went out for that. It was about developing a transport interchange, and it was also about trying to create Airdrie as a town centre living place. So again, it was about getting that kind of residential footfall that could actually promote the retail kind of element, but are constricted and a reduced retail element. So again, when you look at the kind of vision, was about reducing the retail on South Bridge Street and actually trying to focus more on that kind of retail element around the cross. If you can move on to the next one. So again, so the vision kind of gives the kind of high-level concept design of what we should be doing within the town centre. And so there's 8 towns across North Lanarkshire, and it was agreed that this year we'd actually deliver 4 town action plans. So this is about trying to establish the kind of short-term, medium-term and long-term goals for the town centres. Initially, this was about engaging or trying to engage key stakeholders, people from the board and so forth. However, we've done that kind of initial design and so forth, and we're now going to do a public consultation on what kind of activity we should be delivering within our town centre over those kind of like short-term timescales, medium-term timescales, long-term timescales. There'll be a public consultation, so that consultation will run between, I think it's 10th of January and 19th of February, and there will be an exhibition that will go up within the library, within the Airdrie Library, to kind of promote that and get people's views and so forth. It'll be online as well and so forth. And this will be, rather than those kind of concept designs, this will be more about, this is what we're going to do immediately, and this is what we're going to do in the future and so forth. Next slide. Sorry, no. So again, this is our kind of like draft kind of town action plan. So, and I know it's difficult to see here, but hopefully you'll be able to view this within our exhibition and so forth. It's very much focused around town centre living. We've already started to apply for various funds to try and take this forward as early as possible. And I can hardly see this right now, but it's very focused on that kind of residential element. So we've applied, for example, through our UK and Levelling Up Fund, town centre demonstrator projects and so forth. So Airdrie very much is on one of our kind of priorities to take forward. Sorry, Ross, next slide. So although these are the long-term goals, we're already starting to work within Airdrie, and hopefully you can start to see the difference going forward. So for example, there's ORS, which we are supporting and funding. There's Bromnell Church, which was taken forward by Clyde Valley Housing Association, but that was actually supported again through the council. with initial money or additional money going in through a place-based investment programme. There's Buchanan Street. We are also applying right now for additional funding through Historic Environment Scotland and through Heritage Lottery, trying to look at things like Airdrie Library Observatory, Airdrie Townhouse, and so forth. And then, as I mentioned, there's a £9 million bid that went into the UK Levelling Up Fund for that kind of town centre demonstrator project. Next slide. Sorry, Ross. So these are just some of the pictures. So again, I think we put in about £250,000 to Bromnell Church to actually make that operate and work. Next one. This is ours. So this is the ours development. Again, this is something that's kind of been like static for the last 15 years or so. Again, with additional funding that's coming in through the growth team. This is something that we've been able to take forward. Again, this is our 20-flatted development that's due to be completed summer 23. Next one, Ross. Again, one of the things we are definitely looking to do is, as I mentioned, the kind of like town centre living. So we have got a Levelling Up Fund bid that went in to actually look at proposing mid-market rent and actually trying to encourage people to come here with the new hospital occurring, and also with the kind of business and access on to Medicity, to Maxim, to Eurocentral and so forth. So it's again, how do we attract people to come and live within Airdrie? Again, you have heard from London, we're trying to like marry everything up and ensure everything's kind of interconnected. So there is a strategy, we're trying to take forward. Next one. Oh, sorry. Again, these are the kind of things that we are looking at. What we definitely don't want to do is go in and demolish town centre. We want to like save, what's there and actually repurpose and reuse stuff. So again, we're looking at like Police Scotland, working with them, Coates House, the Citizens Advice Bureau and stuff. So again, this is like repurposing them, making sure that we've got that kind of heritage core and retain that kind of heritage core. Next one, Ross, and that might be the last one. Oh, right. So this is the last slide from me. So again, one of the issues we do have is we, as a council, own relatively little. So if you look at the kind of yellow elements within the town centre, that's what the council owns. So we do have an issue here in that we have to try and work with partners. We try and have to work with the private sector to deliver this, because as a council, we own relatively little within our town centres. So it's about how do we develop that. And there's also, I think, one of the things, the kind of town centre projects have been working, for the last 3 or 4 years. One of the problems you're also having is people's expectations, in terms of particularly around, the values of properties and so forth, and, trying to buy them up, work with them to develop it. So it's an issue for us. I think that's what I mean.
Thank you for that, David.
Any questions?
Yep. Anyone get any questions for David? Ross, if you can keep an eye on the board for me, see if there's anybody I'm missing.
No hands up just now, Chair, at all.
No, no questions for David. Okay, you've been letting off lightly, David.
That's good.
Okay, thank you very much for that, David. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you. If we move on to point 5, agenda 5, local priorities, there's a few things that have been carried forward, which is the COVID-19 recovery renewal, which will be updated at the next board cycle. Mental health and emotional well-being will also be updated at the next board cycle. So our next point is for under poverty, which is the Airdrie Partnership Christmas Appeal, and that's Heather Patterson. Heather.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, Heather, yeah, fine, no problem.
Sorry, not used to doing these. So the ladies have asked me to come on and just tell you a wee bit about our appeal, our partnership. I'm from Hall Allotments, and we've been part of Airdrie Action Partnership for a few years. Mainly it started due to COVID, when COVID started. So our response during COVID was great. It was all about kind of sharing the resources, cutting down the duplication. That was the main thing, was cutting down the duplication, directing people to the one place. So now we're doing the Christmas appeal to help families at Christmas with presents, food, and gas and electricity top-ups. So again, it's the same kind of thing. We're going to share the resources out. We're working with the food banks. We're working with social work, schools and nurseries, health visitors, everybody, anybody wants to work with us, to be honest with you, but we put it out through them all. What we're trying to do is we've got the one pathway. Obviously, we've got like the phone number, and then we've got the online forum, how people can kind of come to us. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to work round about the council priorities at the moment, obviously to do with poverty, and use the support available from the council. So people are given informed consent so that we can put them on to the, I was going to say FAT, but I better not, the Tackling Poverty team now, isn't it? To put them onto them, obviously, if they're needing financial advice or Scottish Welfare Fund. We've got donations, financial donations and donations of gifts and donations of food from McDonald's in Airdrie and the Robert Hamilton in Airdrie, used to be Witherspoons. So at the moment, we've got 77 referrals in for families for toys and gifts for young children, 190 referrals for families for meals, and 15 for people who want to be referred to the Tackling Poverty team for financial advice, for benefit checks and things. So we've only opened up for the referrals about 2 weeks ago. The deadline is the 19th of December. So we're thinking that social work is probably going to all pile in at the very end. That probably will happen. That happens usually. But at the moment, like we've definitely got the donations there to cover what we've got at the moment, but we've got loads more donations coming in every day, kind of thing. We've had loads of support from like the School Uniform Bank, Saltire, Mears, Co-op, loads of local businesses. Routes to Work are involved as well. We're working with Chapel Hall Resilience and the Co-op. They're brilliant. They're great ladies. So yeah, they just asked me to come on and tell you all about it, and to let you know that any support is welcome, please.
Great, thank you very much, Heather, for the update. I mean, I know it's obviously well received and it's been well promoted around Airdrie and social media. So obviously it's attracting attention, and hopefully you're getting results from it. So well done for everything that's going on. So fantastic work, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Heather? Nothing, Ross? Oh, you've been letting off lately, Heather, as well. Well done. Thank you very much. If we just move on to the next point, which is an update on community breakfast, that's Christina McGrady. Christina?
Hey there.
Hi.
I just, sorry, in case anybody that doesn't know me, I'm the Community Partnership Officer for the Airdrie locality, and I just wanted to provide the board with an update on work that's progressing in relation to the local outcome improvement plan around the priority relating to poverty. We're looking to hold a series of community breakfasts at the end of January and the beginning of February, and we will have one in each of the villages across the Airdrie locality. Now, we've been able to progress this initiative with partners that are in part of the group Airdrie Action Partnership, which Heather had mentioned earlier. Now, one of our partners, Airdrie Citizens Advice Bureau, they managed to secure funding from Community Solutions to have the events. So we managed to secure a grant to do that. So the plan is to provide a free breakfast to hopefully will encourage people to come along and attend and socialise. But there will also be a number of staff from groups and organisations that are part of Airdrie Action Partnership, and they'll be there and available to provide advice and support to any residents that require it. what we're looking to do is to link in with local groups in each of the villages, particularly so that they can assist us with the promotion of the breakfasts through their existing networks, because we really want to ensure that we're targeting local people. One of the other actions that was identified in the local outcome improvement plan was to look at the creation of a service directory. After a lot of discussion around that, rather than do a service directory which can become out of date fairly quickly, what we're looking to do is develop a leaflet instead that will have information and contact details for services and organisations that can provide help and advice across Airdrie, and we will hopefully be in a position to launch the information leaflet at these community breakfasts. We're just finalising the dates and venues at the moment, but once we do, we produce the flyers for the events, we will circulate it around the board members, and if you want to get involved or you want to come along, it would be lovely to see you there. And that's me, Chair.
Great, thank you very much, Christina. One thing I would just obviously highlight, and I'm sure that I know there's we've got Councillor Beveridge on from the one of the villages, is that the villages are always seen as being left out a little bit, and I think it was good to hear the villages are being included. So when you come to do the rollout, if I could just ask you to make contact with the councillors specifically who are covering the villages around Airdrie, if that's possible. I know you will, but it's just to highlight it. Thank you very much. Any questions for Christina? Anything, Ross? No?
That's all, Chair.
Everyone's got an easy night tonight. Great, thank you very much. We're moving on to point 6. We've got 2 points on there. We're going to get one from Ross, and then Sharon Stolbart will have an opportunity to come in after Ross. So if I can come on to the community drop-in points for Ross, please.
Thanks, Chair. So it's just to remind everyone that as part of the Council's response to the current cost of living crisis, now went live with our community drop-in programme. This is where the Council's supporting a wide range of voluntary organisations across North Lanarkshire, there's 65 in total, who are opening up their facilities and extended their offering to provide a one place to go and meet other people, have a chat, get a hot drink, something to eat. And these venues are operating at different times and on different days to try and capture as many people as possible that may want to attend. There's no charge for any of these facilities to go and use them. Everyone's welcome to go and join in, and there's no referral or anything needed. This isn't related to need. This is a service for everyone to take part in. The community organisations that we're supporting alongside the council also opening up sports centres and libraries, which will also have places for people to go along, have a seat, get a warm drink and things. For all the most up-to-date information, we have shared it to the board. I'm happy to recirculate. Also set up a dedicated cost of living section on their website. It's an interactive map that lists every venue with its opening times, what's on offer. You can easily go into that map, scroll into where you live, and it will show you everything that's available close by. The map's updated on a regular basis, so at any time you check, you should have accurate days and times shown. And the cost of living page also lists other supports that are available through the council should people wish to access them. So it's just really clear to make everyone aware that the programme's now running, and that'll be running between now and the end of March. Councillor Beveridge has got his hand up there, Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Ross. Alan, do you want to come in?
Thanks, Chair. Hi, Ross. It's just, as you know, I've been contacted a couple of times by other community groups that wanted to add it onto this. I take it that's not a problem. Add it all the time, kind of thing.
I suppose there's two parts of that, Councillor Beveridge. If someone's running service, I think we've recently added one on that they're already offering things and they just want to be included in the map, yes, we can get them added on pretty much immediately. If groups are looking at funding to extend the offering, we need to look at that on a case-by-case basis, because the funding round's already been, we've allocated it out, and we're kind of in the management process. If there are any groups particularly in areas where there's no coverage, such as the villages and things. If there's groups there that think they can extend their offering and fit in with the criteria, they can absolutely get in touch with us and we'll have a chat. But if it's simply about us helping to promote what they already offer and get that online, we'll absolutely do that.
That's fine. And Ross, just one other question. Will there be any feedback as to how many people are using these facilities?
Yep, so we're currently, because we're at the initial stages, carrying out a monitoring process on a fortnightly basis just now with organisations. They're reporting on user numbers, age groups, and just some baseline information for us to establish that the sessions are working where they are, and actually it's meeting the community's needs. So we're monitoring that. Alongside that, Council, we've also issued user forums to every venue to allow people that are going to the venues to tell us what they think honestly, because it can be done anonymously. Tell us, is there anything missing? Is there anything else we should be offering? Or is there additional support we as an authority can put in place? So we're doing that on both sides, and that will continue through the entire period of the programme.
Fine, thank you.
Is that fine, Alan? Yep.
Yep, thanks, Chair. Yeah.
Any other questions from anyone for Ross? No?
All clear, Chair, we can move on.
Okay, thank you. We're moving on to Craig Nook's Petersburg Action for Kids. We should have Sharon on. Sharon, do you want to come in?
Yeah.
Hi, Sharon.
Yeah. Bear with me, this is my first night at doing one of these.
Hi, no problem, don't worry.
I'm just on, obviously, to get a bit more what happens, but also I want to highlight a few things that I've been speaking to you regards to, Michael, about the community centre.
Yep.
In regards to, we run the youth club every Tuesday through term time from 6 till 8. For kids in the Airdrie area. It doesn't need to be from Craignook or Petersburg. They can come from anywhere. It is a very successful club. We've been running for a numerous amount of years. But just in recently years, we've noticed that the outside of the building doesn't have sufficient lighting. And we've got to obviously get the kids out of the building quite, 8 o'clock at night. This time it's quite dark. So we're looking to get some information about getting that fixed for the safety of the kids and obviously ourselves leaving. And there's quite a lot of glass as well round now. In the summer where there's light nights, we use the back of the building at the grass area. We've got to do a safety check to make sure that there's no dog poo, no glass, nothing dangerous for the kids. If that could possibly, be looked at for cleaning.
Yep, no problem, Sharon.
And maybe a fencing area around it so that we can keep the kids safe, around the building at the back.
Yep.
But it's not just us that use it, there's our mothers and toddlers that use the group as well. So rather than the kids being stuck in during the day, they can go out and we can go out at night and feel the kids are safe, they're secure, and we're not worried about any dangers.
Okay. Thank you, Sharon. Anything else, Sharon? I'm just going to actually quickly go to Ross if you've got any other point, and I can put that forward. So, are you okay with that, Sharon? Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely fine. Yeah.
Ross, just to pass that on, is that something we could pass on for local development to have a look at a couple of those proposals?
Absolutely, Chair. I think what I would do, Sharon, have you got Christina's contact details that's on the call tonight?
I don't know.
Right, that's okay. What we'll do is we'll email you, Sharon, and we'll talk you through what the local development programme is, we can and can't do. We can certainly have a discussion about the issues you've raised and where it's things that we can support with potentially financially or taking on as a project we can. But if it's things that other services should be picking up and things for them to look at, again, we can make contact with relevant officers to take that forward. So we'll get in touch with you and pick that up from there.
Is that okay, Sharon?
Perfect, that's brilliant, thank you.
Great. Christina, do you want to come in and just to briefly touch with Sharon, or are you okay with that?
Yeah, just to reiterate what Ross was saying, I'll get in touch with you and we can chat
Great.
about how we can progress that.
Great, that's fine. Thank you very much. You okay
Perfect.
with that, Sharon?
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, no problem. Well done. Thank you. Okay, and we're just going to move on to point 7, which is My Airdrie, local engagement or consultation. That's Ross again, please.
So just very quickly again, Chair, it was to let you know some engagements coming up. During his presentation, I suppose stole this under because he'd mentioned what it was. We sent out information. There is going to be some public engagement around the Airdrie Town Action Plan. The consultation and engagement will be held July, as David mentioned. It will be running from the 10th of January to the 21st of February. And during that period, there'll be specific dates where council officers will also be attending. So if people want to speak to people in person, they'll be able to go along and do that and discuss any concerns, issues, comments that they have. As well as that, there'll be an online exhibition through the council's website. The growth team who are running that will be sending out a targeted email to the community board via ourselves in advance of the consultation so that everyone has all the details and can take part as they see fit.
Thank you, Ross. Any questions for Ross on that point? Can't see any hands. Anything, Ross? No.
Again, let's move on.
Okay, moving on to the second point on My Airdrie, which is the Community Concordat update, and that's from Vanel. Vanel, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good evening, everyone. Just a few things to bring your attention to around Concordat. There is a full written update that's been circulated with the board papers, but there's just been some recent developments as well. It turns out that we're actually going to rebrand the Concordat. It was felt that maybe the current title didn't quite reflect what we're trying to achieve. So this was agreed last week at the Strategic Leadership Board, and the Concordat will be rebranded going forward. There's another series of engagement planned early in the new year. We will be trying to arrange some dates for in-person locality focus groups, which will be organised by Vanel staff along with colleagues from other agencies. There will also be a short online survey issued, and discussion will take place with existing community groups supported by other members of our staff who will be able to attend other key events throughout the locality. So this discussion will take place with other partner organisations as well, and a Concordat design event we'll be looking for people to participate in that going forward before the Concordat is finally drawn up. And we'll be back in touch with further details going forward. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, mate. Thank you, Douglas. Just before I move on, I seen a hand up. Just to say well done on that little event you had down at Coatdyke Community Centre. It was really good. I was only there for a couple of hours, but well done. Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks for attending.
Thank you, no problem. I seen a brief hand there. Is it Natalie? I just missed seeing the name Natalie. Is that correct, Ross?
There's no hands up. I think some people were putting little clapping hands up. I'm not
Oh,
sure
right.
if
Okay.
that's maybe what
That's
something
totally
Natalie, I think. That was a round of applause. Must be a fault in the system because I didn't see Natalie doing that for anything I was speaking about, Chair, but I think that's what it was.
You've got a clapping hand there. Thank you. Now we're moving on to the next point, which is point 8, standing agenda items, community coordinator update. Matt Costello.
Hi, Chair.
Hi,
thanks
Matt.
very much. Just a few points in place of Brian tonight, just to give some updates and some issues that have been happening within the council. One of the first things is that people have already been sent out the links to the documents and other resources providing information about the approach we're undertaking to deal with winter-related issues in North Lanarkshire, and it's hoped that information has been helpful for the community board in understanding the processes involved. So links have been sent out regarding winter preparedness, winter services policy, time to get ready for winter, and some general information. If anybody else wants that information, then please let us know, and we'll make sure that's sent out if you haven't already had that information. I wanted to highlight that recently over 300 people attended the Developing a Young Workforce event at Motherwell Concert Hall. The events was part of a strategy to work closely with employers to help shape the future of employment in North Lanarkshire. It was an opportunity to bring together school leaders, employers, young people and key partners to build strong relationships. And feedback has been very positive in relation to that. So work on that will continue. Earlier in November, the Environment and Carbon Reduction Committee approved a new litter bin strategy that will see high capacity bins installed across North Lanarkshire, and further information will be issued on that, and a report can be found on the council system about that. If people want information on that, we can ensure that that is also sent out. And there was also information took place at that committee regarding a new policy relating to illegal signing and attachments to street furniture, enabling the council to take a more proactive approach with regard to illegal signing placed on the road network, and agreeing that attachments to street furniture wouldn't be permitted unless a robust design check, etc. was undertaken. So further information is available on that also. A couple of points more specific to Airdrie itself, just to update more from Brian Lafferty's side of things. John Smith Court lift installations are in the process of being progressed in that area. Milton Court, the high-rise flat in Milton Court, that one lift has been completed and another one is going to be starting. The work is starting on that, along with heating installations in the same area in January. The Airdrie Town Centre Action Plan consultation, which has already been referred to, has been put in place as well. New Monkland Cemetery extension, there's work ongoing in relation to that, and the South Biggar Road, Craigneuk Avenue Junction improvement due for completion to the end of last month. So hopefully that there's progress being made on that as well. And the final point on that was just about the East Airdrie Link Road, in which we've had the input tonight in relation to that from Lindsay. So that's all the update that Brian was going to put in this evening, Chair.
Thanks very much, Matt. Is there any questions that maybe Matt can pass on to Brian, since he's on behalf of Brian? Is there any questions for anyone? No.
Nothing, Chair.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sorry, Chair, can I come in just a wee quick one?
Yeah, Alan, on you go.
See the bins, the litter/dog waste bins. I take it the location of them after the survey will be freely available, Matt?
Yeah, I would assume so. Councillor Beveridge, we'll pass that back and ensure that as much information as possible is made aware on that.
Because you know that, I mean, we all got lots of requests for bin. Everybody wants a bin below outside their door, but that'd be great if we could just pinpoint where we're going to be and the reason for that. Thanks.
No problem.
Okay, thanks, Alan. Okay, if there's any other further questions, we'll move on to the next point, which is Local Development Programme LDP. Ross, yourself?
Sorry, Chair. I think Councillor Coyle was wanting to come in just before we moved on. I think the last point.
Oh, sorry, on you go, Councillor Michael.
Hi there, Convener. Thanks very much for allowing me in.
No problem.
I've been contacted a lot about the Craigneuk Junction going on to the Carlisle Road, and it's very concerning because I can see where the two roundabouts are stationed there, and I feel as if it's a vast improvement to the road network there, but I think there should be more signage there to warn people there is roundabouts here, because I've noticed a few people running over the roundabouts, and there are a couple of people for Craigneuk Avenue says that when they try to get out, they've nearly been hit a couple of times. I was wondering if there's any possible chance, Matt, if you could maybe contact the roads to get more signage up there. Thank you, Convener.
No problem, Michael.
Thanks.
Matt, I
Yeah,
can also
yeah.
jump in as well on that
Yeah.
once you come out,
Yeah,
but like you
yes,
can.
Yeah, we'll
Sorry?
pick up on that. We'll feed that back to the roads team regarding that.
Okay, just briefly from me, Michael, I know it's been passed on, I think it was 2 days ago, the concern about the lack of signage about the awareness of many roundabouts. And I believe, I think it was just yesterday or the day before, a temporary sign has been put up just at the corner of Craigneuk Avenue, coming from the Terminus roundabout side. So I think that's a work in progress, Michael, but Matt, I'll point it up, and I'll follow up as well if you're okay with that.
Thanks a lot, Convener.
No problem. Any other questions before we move on?
That's us, Chair.
Okay, and we're moving on to point 9, which is the last agendas on tonight's meeting, which is AOCP, and it's the NL litter.
Oh, sorry, Cheers. We'd also the local development programme under standing items number 8.
Sorry, my apologies. Yep, sorry.
That's okay, but I'll be shorter on item 9, so I'll be very quick. So the local development programme, it was just to make the board aware. We've shared with you the latest report on the status of the local development programme, projects that have been agreed by the Communities Committee and approved by the Community Board. Just to make the board aware of the progress across all of these projects. And probably to highlight as well, we're coming towards the end of our financial year, so projects are starting to move forward and come to fruition. We're looking for future projects for the local development programme. So I would remind elected members and members of the community that are on the call tonight, if you've got ideas for the local development programme, feel free to get in touch with us, either the team directly or through the Community Matters mailbox. I'm happy to have a discussion. And if people aren't sure about the remit of the local development programme and what it can and can't look at, again, we're always happy to have that chat with people and help guide them through the process if it would help.
Thank you, Ross. Any questions for Ross on that point?
No. None at all. Okay, moving on.
Okay, we're on a run. So we're jumping on to agenda number 9, which is, Ross, you're going to do all the 3 points, which is the NL litter bin strategy, Scottish Parliamentary Inquiry into Community Planning, and budget consultation meeting.
Thank you, Chair. So Matt's covered the litter bin strategy. It was really to make people aware that the reports were now available. They could read through them and see the decisions that have been made and the rationale behind them. So the links have been shared with the board, and if you get an interest in that area, I would encourage you to read them. We've previously shared with the board as well a link to the Scottish Parliament Inquiry into Community Planning, about how the community planning structures work across Scotland. Consultation's open for another few weeks, and if anyone's got a particular interest in community planning structures and community planning partnerships, I would encourage you to take part in the consultation and have your voice heard. And just finally, share if I can, we sent out an email offering people the chance to take part in our budget consultation meeting. This is in relation to the Council's budget for financial years 2023-24, so from next April onwards. We have a meeting that we'll be holding via Teams on Thursday, the 15th of December, from about 6:30 to 8 p.m. And it's a chance for you to hear from the Council's chief officers about the budgets, how they work, the areas where we can and we can't maybe cut money, but also for people to feed in where their priorities lie. So we've already got a bit of a turnout from Airdrie, which is great, but I would certainly encourage anyone that would like to take part or come along, even just to listen to that meeting, drop us a line at the Community Matters mailbox, and we'll make sure you have the meeting invite sent out to you. That's it from me, Chair.
Thank you very much for that, Ross. Anyone get any questions on those 3 points for Ross that he's just raised? No?
All clear, Chair?
Okay, thank you very much. Just 2 final points. Point 10, a date and time of the next meeting.
We don't have the next cycle confirmed yet. We're looking at approximately 3 months from now, I would think.
Okay, and that'll be confirmed in due course. Thank you very much. And just lastly, folks, thank you very much for attending and everyone participating, and obviously sharing all the information, which is very welcome to everyone who's on the call tonight. And just very finally, some of us won't see each other, so everyone have a very nice Christmas, and we will see you in the year of 2023. So stay safe and have a lovely time. Thank you very much for your time, folks. Thank you.
Cheers,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chair.